Hey, today I'm reviewing this knife. This is the KNV2 by Jacket Kit. This is sold as a survival knife, so it's going to get all the survival testing. That's right, it's going to get a bit of a pounding. It's a Falkneven-esque design, for sure. It's got some similar features, some different features. It's a VG10 cobalt steel. It's about 4.5 inch blade range. I'll show all this stuff later on. But this knife was sent to me by the company to do a review of. This was a while ago too, and it's just been sitting on my shelf, and I've been waiting to get to it. And sort of as a result of kind of a bit of that going on lately, and just I guess this isn't my full-time job, and I just kind of don't have the time. Pretty much from now, I'm just going to review stuff that I buy myself. There's probably a couple other things on the way still that I've agreed to sort of ages ago that sometimes the company takes a few months to get it to me, but generally it's probably going to very much trail off from here into just stuff that I actually seek out myself that I enjoy. Because loaners and agreed reviews and stuff, all they do is they make me feel hurried to get to them, and I know that's not what the intent is. And even when folks say, hey, take as long as you want, it just doesn't happen, and they just sit on my shelf stressing me out. So yeah, because I want to do good work as well, and I think I do my best work when I seek the product out and I'm excited about it. And if I really love the look of a product, then maybe I'll send one of those embarrassing emails off asking the company for it. So, but there we go. So yeah, just a little bit of housekeeping there, but let's get straight into this review. That being said, I'm going to give this knife a bit of hell and see if it survives it, and see if it's a good overall survival knife. I can see some positive features about it already in hand, and there's already a couple of things that I need to tell you. So let's get into it. So first things first, knife did not come sharp. Knife does not cut paper. It does right there, and then it rounds off to almost a harmless edge right at the tip. So it's a not a sharp knife out of the box. So that's a bit of a bummer. So what we're going to do first up, we're going to sharpen it. Survival knife, I'm going to put a durable edge on it just using the work sharp knife and tool sharpener. So the knife already has a fair convex grind going, at least I think from my estimations it's flat to about here, and then there's definitely a convex from about here downwards towards the edge. So you can just see the way the light bounces off of it. You can see it kind of rolls down and then sits there. I'm not sure if that's coming across or not. This lanyard came with it. This knife is not long enough for me to need a lanyard, so that's coming off. And yeah, as it's already got a convex, I think about a 20-degree little convex edge should do the trick. So this is the work sharp knife and tool sharpener. It's got the 20-degree guide on it. Just a powered system, just do quick strokes, and that should get it going nicely. The knife already had a bit of a rounded over tip before I've sharpened it, so again, I'm not too fussed about using this machine on it. Better, a bit of honing with the blue belt should do the trick. So the sheath it comes with is very similar to a cold steel Securex sheath, as in it's got the nylon strapping at the back here, which you can sort of open up and adjust and attach to your belt without taking it off. So you got that there. But then it has like a, well, I'm not sure if it's Kydex, it feels like Kydex, but like a retention sort of sheath that's friction fit. So it's a good sheath, it's a nicer sheath, and a nicer sheath I guess than the Falkneven sheaths, which I guess the knife is sort of modelled after, I would say. So the sheath on this one does seem a little bit better than the basic sort of Zytel Falkneven sheath, like so. This one's sort of a little bit, I mean the elements are kind of all there, it's just this one doesn't really sit locked in there. It just kind of jiggles around in there just a little bit. So this one does seem just a little bit nicer. Right, so the tip came off during, that's a stressful test, it is, and this is not something, I'm a knife reviewer, so these are the things to show that, if they pass these tests, then it shows the knife is really, really strong and really, really good. So obviously the tip isn't either supported geometry-wise, or the steel is maybe either too hard or too brittle to, do that specific test, which, isn't I don't think if you buy a knife with your own hard-earned, you probably shouldn't take it out and do that with whatever it is. But just to be fair to this, to see what other knives can do it, or if other knives fail to do it, I did 4 other knives with about the same test, as close as I could do anyway, putting about the same amount into the wood. So first I did the Falcon Even F1, which is sort of a, this knife is sort of like a mix between this and in terms of size, the F1 and the S1, kind of halfway between the two. The F1 has a bit more of a reinforced tip and it has a laminated steel. So I put that one all the way in, and was actually bending it fairly severely, and it was getting to the point where, I was applying way more force to it than I applied to this one to get the breakage, and the Falcon Even still didn't break. Then I used the Gerber Strong Arm, which is like a tactical survival knife, and the Strong Arm has more of a reinforced tip as well. So the tip is a bit more, a bit less, I guess, fine. So of course the Strong Arm is an almost indestructible knife, I've come to realise, and that was absolutely fine as well. So then I got 2 sort of non-survival knives. I got the Holtefers knife, which is a very tough knife made of SK5 steel. That I think I was getting a fairly good bend on, but was not breaking either. And then to break a knife, I was like, well, I'll just break a Mora the same way that I broke this one, just for comparison's sake. And the Mora wouldn't break. So the Mora just bent and flexed, and that 12C27, that was a stainless Mora, no worries at all either. So just one of those things that it's probably just a combination of the tip geometry and maybe the steel choice. Maybe you need to laminate VG10 to use it for a prying task. So there you go. Look, that's not the review over, but it's definitely probably an indicator that this isn't, it just shows that those other knives can do that particular test better than this one could. So there you go. Sorry, Jack Kit, but I don't know. It's you market a knife as a survival knife, I'll generally do pretty rough stuff with it. So. Sorry. Anyway, on with the show. Seeing the edge retention test, the steel with a 20-degree bevel cut 90 times. That's a fair improvement on the Falcon Evans VG10, which cut I think about 75 times or so with the same edge. That was such a long time ago, but was with that actual Falcon Evan that I've been using in this video. So yeah, it's the steel is apparently going to hold an edge for a bit longer than the VG10 in a Falcon Evan. It might be due to the extra cobalt, might be due to a harder heat treatment, so who knows. But edge retention may be longer, but that also may start to explain why the tip broke off. Maybe it's just a little bit harder than it should be for a survival knife, or for a knife that you're going to be a dick and, you know, leave the tip in at any rate. Alright, so what I did next was I resharpened the knife, and then I did some woodworking stuff with it. And for sure, it was a pretty decent little wood carving slicing knife. It's because of the taller blade, it is a bit more of a slicey grind, so it's a thinner behind the edge knife. Probably also what contributes to the tip not being as strong as the Falcon Even. But there you go. So yeah, performance against wood, no problems at all. Totally fine with how, you know, it's shaved and cut. I'm not a bushcrafter. I'm just doing this as part of my review process. But yeah, as far as me, my layman skills at shaving wood did absolutely fine. I have no doubt that, you know, combined with the sharp enough spine to strike a ferro rod, if you were skilled enough, you'd be able to get a fire going with just a piece of wood and this knife and a ferro rod. No problems at all, if that is your thing to go and do. I just got a visual fire going just for the purpose of the video with some paper and some petrol, because that's how skilled I am. Anyway, so that's absolutely fine if it comes to just using it maybe as a camp or as a, you know, general purpose knife. Just saying, for my, you know, purposes with the, you know, more extreme kind of testing, the tips failed, but then the other stuff was fine, like with the actual lateral stress of being battened crossways across, you know, some pine sleeper kind of material. So it did more or less okay, apart from that tip. Make of that tip test what you will. Some people hate it, you know, hit dislike, whatever. I was just sort of being more curious than anything. And as I said, pretty sure that the other four knives kind of had the same amount of stress applied to them and they were fine. So anyway, won't go on about it anymore. So just reading what their statements are about the knife. So they said that at the KNV2, they're still saying on the website it's 99 CR 18 MOV. I was told in the emails that it's VG10 Cobalt or VG10 Special or something like that. They say it has received the highest test score awarded, a Swedish knife by reputablebushcraft.nl, must be a website or something, in strong competition with the fine knives from Falcon Even and Mora. This reason we're very proud that the special operations of the Swedish police have used it as well. Unique combination of heavy-duty construction and nimble performance have made them relied upon by many military personnel during difficult missions abroad probably. Imagine yourself using a KNV knife perfected in every detail so it will deliver its best performance in the most challenging situation. Well, I'd say that was a bit of a challenging situation and it broke, but I'm just being a bit mean here. I'll tone this down. I'll settle that down, because really they've made a fine knife. It's absolutely okay. The only thing is that if this was like a half-priced Falcon Even, I'd be like, hey, you're probably better off getting this if you're just a casual user. But it's almost the same price, really. So in Australia, Australian dealer selling for 160. You get a Falcon Even F1 for 180. The Zytel sheath, the price on their website is $109 US or $129 US, depending on what part of the site you're on. So yeah, that's definitely nearing Falcon Even money, and it's definitely eclipsed some cold steel fixed blade money. So it's definitely priced competitively or comparatively with the other knives rather than being right underneath them. So that may affect as well if this knife is for you or not too. Look, overall, I got sent this knife for no money. I always feel bad when it doesn't go perfectly. You love to be able to say, hey, cool, they sent me a knife, it was great, nothing went wrong, everyone wins. But, you know, my main duty is to be as open as I can be. And yeah, when I do get a fail, ever since I've had a couple of fails earlier in my YouTube career, I do try and endeavor to replicate them on some other knives to see if that would have failed at anything. And, you know, a few different types of knife, and those ones didn't. So I think this knife might not be as hard use as they would like it to be, or as perhaps they're saying it could be, being a, you know, survival knife. I don't know. But apart from that, it's definitely comparable to, say, some medium duty like camp knives. Maybe like the Falkenhaven S1 with its thinner tip. You know, maybe that would have failed if I still had one to do that test with. I don't know, but overall, it's fine. The elements are good. Like, it seems to have a good edge retaining steel for this kind of knife. The sheath is nice. The handle is comfortable. I mean, you can't go really wrong with a Falkenhaven A. It feels like the A1's handle on the Falkenhaven A1, just being a bit bigger with a smaller blade. So the handle is really, really comfortable and shock resistant. Like when I was doing all my battening type stuff, really, really good. A bit tackier. I don't think it's the thermo run that Falkenhaven use. I'll see if they specify. TPEE, so TPE, age and chemical resistant. I'm sure it's a very strong sort of like super plastic or super rubberized plastic for sure. No worries at all there. So look, generally speaking, I'd say it's a completely fine camp knife if you're after something with this aesthetic. But yeah, I mean, my results, do they speak for themselves? I don't know. At any rate, thank you to Jacked Kit for sending this along. I'm sorry it's not the best review that you'd probably love to, you know, put on your website or whatever like that. It's, you know, it just is what it is. It's how the cookie has crumbled. But I think it's been an honest review, and it's yeah, I guess you can't win everything, and that is what it is. And maybe it's too much doing that kind of test. Maybe it's not. It's happened now, so I guess it's all up to the viewers to interpret. So leaving it at that today. These can be found from Jacked Kit's website. I'm noticing none of the main dealers that I would usually use are selling these. A couple of smaller Australian survival shops are selling them online. Just do a Google search and you'll find one. That's all I've got for you today on the Jacked Kit KNV2. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Goodbye.